So now I would like to request His Excellency Mr. GANBOLD DAMBAJAV to come and address. Before that, let me give a brief profile. An ambassador does not require any introduction because he is given the status in any country. It's a general protocol that he enjoys the status of a cabinet minister wherever and he goes, whether it's a big country, small country, or India or any other country. That's a global protocol. He is born in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia in 1973, graduated from the National University of Mongolia, BA in Foreign Service, possessed Master's degree in Linguistics, Science and Technology University of Mongolia, and Diplomacy from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Russian Federation. Attended various courses specializing in international affairs and regional security exchange program in political science from Brigham Young University, Hawaii, USA, Vienna Diplomatic Academy, European and International Affairs, Austrian Studies in German, Austria, Shanghai Cooperation, Organization of Economic and Investment Portfolio, Beijing, People's Republic of China, NATO School, Moscow State University, Russian Federation's MFA, and so many other institutions. He has also taken from Geneva Center for Security Policy, German, Switzerland, and Asia Pacific Center for Security Studies, Hawaii, USA, among others. He has worked in various positions in different departments of the Foreign Ministry of Mongolia, and he has worked as the permanent mission of Mongolia to the UN, New York, USA, Embassy of Mongolia in Sofia, Bulgaria. So he has a global experience, concurrently accredited to the Republic of Albania, Cyprus, Republic of Hellenistic and North Macedonia and Romania, Embassy of Mongolia in Ottawa, Canada, and concurrently accredited to the Federal Republic of Brazil. He is SOM leader Mongolia at the FELAC, and since December 13, 2021, he is appointed Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Mongolia to the Republic of India, and also he is Ambassador of Mongolia to Bhutan, Maldives, and Sri Lanka simultaneously with India. He has got several awards, especially Silver Cross of Merit of the Republic of Poland. He speaks Russian, English, and German. So a big round of applause for Ambassador GANBOLD DAMBAJAV. Kindly come and address our gathering.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I'd like to express my appreciation for inviting me to this auspicious event, and of course, the congratulations goes to all awardees. Let me talk briefly, because I know we're quite exhausted for the whole day, so I'll be very brief, about business opportunities for Indian business people in Mongolia. Before that, I would like to speak about history, because Mongolia and India have a long history, and probably some of you heard that many Mongolians and scholars and monks used to come to study at the Nalanda University around 2,000 years ago, and many Indian scholars and monks used to come to Mongolia. And for many Mongols, India is the land of Lord Buddha, so you can assume that Mongols have a huge respect for India and our Indian friends. As of today, we call our Indian friends our spiritual neighbors. And, in contemporary history, we established diplomatic relations in 1955, and as of today, we enjoy developing a strategic partnership between our two countries. And as for Mongolians, India is the most important third neighbor in this region. Who we are as of today, Mongolia is a country by population is around 3.4 million, which is very few compared to our Indian friends. But by territory, we 4 times of France, or a little bit bigger than half of India. As of today, we have limited economic cooperation between our two countries. We built in the oil refinery, and we have some projects going on in Mongolia. As of Mongolia, we are rich in minerals. You can name the whole spectrum of the minerals, starting with gold, copper, coking coal, rare earth elements, and as we call critical elements as of today. And I believe for Indian business people, the operation in mining can be of interest because, as you all know, India is now producing its own semiconductors. So the raw material for that rare earth element, we have huge deposits of them in Mongolia. Other aspect of the cooperation can be agriculture, because, as I told you, the Mongolia has a huge country and population is small, so it gives us huge the open, untapped territory to cultivate different various products. So, I'm talking in the mean that now, as of today, world population reached more than 8 billion, and because of the crisis in Russia and Ukraine, the world is will start soon and starting facing the food crisis. So we can do the cultivation and cooperation with the Indian agriculture sector in Mongolia. We can produce wheat crop, you name it, whatever we need to feed the world, and it can be very mutual beneficial business. At the same time, we have in Mongolia we have around 75 million livestock. We call livestock the 5 main animals, which is horse, camel, cow, sheep, and goats. So based on that, we can assume that development can be also interest of Indian business people. Railways, highways, water canal, you name it. As a country that has a long history and a country who belongs to nomads, nature we have preserved, managed to preserve to the untapped pristine nature. So I believe that tourism can be a lot of interest for Indian tourists because we can offer a lot of beautiful destinations for Indian people. At the same time, I believe the cinema photography can be also a good part of our cooperation because the Mongolian government has incentive that reimbursing up to 50% of all the expenses that shooting in Mongolia, movie, television serial, whatever the name, documentary, you name it, up to 50% of all the expenses that is produced in Mongolia can be reimbursed by the government of Mongolia. And, of course, we're looking for the direct flight between our two countries because with the direct flight we will have a much more better opportunity to bring our people closer. We have a meeting in the Air India and INDO-GLOBAL. We're still working on that. So, in general, what I would say that when you think about Mongolia and doing business in Mongolia, I would like to ask you not to limit within the border of Mongolia. On the north, we have the whole Siberia, which is the market for the 37 million of people. Also in the south, we have the inner Mongolia, which is north of China, which is also a population of 25 million. So in total, we have to think about a market of 60-80 million people. Thinking of a broader picture, I believe the business people will have a better understanding as a professionals. Also, another important aspect of doing business in Mongolia that the products that is made and produced in Mongolia can be exported to the European market without tax, up to 7,500 products that is listed in the agreement can be exported to the European market without tax. So, back to the history of between our two countries, I would like to bring one example of how close we are. In the eastern corner of Mongolia, we have a lake called Ganga. The story says that many thousand years the Mongols used to come to India. On their way back, they get water from the Ganga river, and they pour it in the valley, and that's how this lake, beautiful lake, is created. And every year, approximately right now time, fall, thousands, millions of birds gather at that lake and they fly to India. So, which gives us how close we are. And I think all when many thousand years when we didn't have the means of transportation, no airplane, no train, no cars. Our ancestors used to manage to overcome the Himalayas to come to India, come to Mongolia. So if they managed to do that, For today's for us there is no problem. This is not a big problem. So I would like to end my statement saying that with Mongolian way of one saying that it's better to see once than hear it 1,000 times. So I would like to invite you all to come to Mongolia, see it yourself. As a professional, as a business people, you will see the better opportunity than in civil service. So welcome to Mongolia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for throwing light about the possibilities in Mongolia. Do we have any questions? Anybody? So kindly, yeah. Please introduce yourself and kindly be directly to the question.
All right. Thank you for the lovely quick synopsis that you've given, Your Excellency. Right. So thank you for the quick synopsis that you've given of Mongolia. You mentioned a lot of trade opportunities and a lot from a business and commerce perspective. So I personally deal in the education sector and will be happy to facilitate any sort of student exchanges between colleges and schools from our network in India and Mongolia if there's anything that could be done. So is there any sort of potential that you see in this, and if so, how would we be able to take it forward?
Thank you. Yes, of course. When I spoke about the history, our ancestors used to come to study in our university. It shows that educational cooperation can be a very good demand because we receiving a certain amount of Mongolian students in India. I'm trying to send a couple of young Indians, actually, I always sent two of them to study in Mongolia. So I believe that institution, quality of Indian institution is very needed in Mongolia. I'd like to welcome to Indian institution, educational institution organizations to come to Mongolia because recently only these main, we adopted the law that officially states English as the second official language of Mongolia. It took us more than 30 years to abolish the former communist regime. So now I see that based on this law and the new law of PPP, I believe that Indian education institution has a more chance to go to Mongolia to educate because the English as a native English official language of India will be very important and necessary for Mongolian youth. It will be a big opportunity for you.
There is one question from my side. The Indian psyche has a, historical, whether it's facts or not a fact, you will be clarifying better that Genghis Khan once came and he attacked India, and that is the thing which, every Indian knows about when it comes about Mongolia. That day when we were able to meet you at your house here, and you said several things about his origin. What is that? How Mongolia sees India, and what is your perspective about Genghis Khan coming here? And nobody can change the history, that's a fact. But how Mongolia sees its relations with India?
We give very big importance to India as our third neighbor and spiritual neighbor. You rightly say that there is some misconception in India about Mongolia. Mongols never invaded India directly. We never invaded because historically the Mongols have a huge respect for Indian people, Indian culture. But during a certain period of time when the Mongols came from the west, in the Middle East, it wasn't really the direct Mongolian, let's say, invasion. It was part of alliance, let's say, But the Mongols sent some troops probably to help the Mughals, or let's say the Middle East kings at that time, to go to war with India. But in general speaking, Mongols, as I said in my short remarks, that we see the Indians in India as a land of Lord Buddha. Because of that, we have very huge respect for you, and I believe that this respect and our long history can be and should be bring to our new generation, our youngsters. That's why I fully support the idea about the educational exchange, because if we prepare our next generation to understand each other better. Based on the understanding, we can bring the trust. And only on the trust is a business, you know that on the trust you can do business. Otherwise, if you don't trust no person, if you don't know him, if you don't understand the person, how you can do business? So we have to work on the next generation, young people, to prepare them, give them our historical background, heritage, and based on that, we can come to the future together.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for clarifying that Mongolia never invaded India, and this should be known to the Indian masses, so that the historical misconception will go away. And those days, in like India, princely states were there in India, and kingships were there everywhere in the world, different parts of the world, and so this is very important.